All right. Dang. So I got some tea. Oh yeah. All right. Let's go. Fan just shut off, yo. I ain't trying to get too hot in here with this computer going. All right. What are we doing? What are we doing? Let's see. We got some blood harvest up. Only 15 minutes, though. We can go do blood harvest. I think I'll do some nightmare dungeons. We should turn that notification off. Why that's sitting there.
I'm not ready yet.
Hey, Happy New Year. Happy belated. I just got done working out. Caught that first workout of 2024, and it was glorious.
I must wait.
You're just doing, dang boy. We're just doing some leveling. Trying to finish up the Renome probably sometime before the weekend. The champion of evil. Yeah, that poison. Gotta love the electricity, boy. the obelisks, the enchanted lightning enemies. So much damage.
Not ready yet.
It's always like that. I think those obelisks need to be tuned down in Season 3.
I must wait.
Even when I play hardcore, those things are always the most powerful modifiers, like obelisks and then obviously anything that explodes.
I'm not ready yet.
I think if the obelisks were like targetable and you could destroy them, it would make it so much better. I think the fact that you can't hit them is the biggest issue. I don't mind that they do a lot of damage. Just seems like something that you should be able to actually hit to destroy. Just like these orbs on the ground. So usually when there's some kind of mechanic that does a lot of damage, you can overcome it in some way other than just running away from it.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Not ready yet.
I'm glad that they patched the bug with the dot damage from the modifiers while you're doing nightmare dungeons. That was actually really nice. I need a lot more tankiness. I just haven't really stopped to that stupid bug. Oh, you know what it is too? I probably need to swap around my my packs on my gear. That's probably why I'm not doing so much damage. What am I missing? Yeah, my cursed. You gotta have a cursed on. I need to put a chalice. There we go. Without a cursed touch, it's hard to apply that extra dot damage you get from your... Yeah, everything's already better. Man, I gotta pay attention to the packs, man. I'm so used to running around on my full, complete characters.
I'm not ready yet.
I still have to do all the renown grind, but I did do all of the altars of Lilith. I've done all of the I've unlocked all the maps, but I have not yet done the renown grind.
I'm not ready yet.
So next season I will have all the renown and everything done on my hardcore character and all the renown done on a normal character. Yeah, if they just made it where you could hit the obelisks and break them, it'd be so much better. Just that's the one little thing that I feel like would kind of even out the amount of damage those do. It's just too much damage coming out of those things without being able to destroy them. Happy New Year to everybody.
Do that here.
I also got to go to the PvP area and farm up all the cosmetics there. I think what I want to do before the end of the season is make a guide for killing Uber Lilith. Make a guide for... I don't know, make a guide. Yeah, probably do like a Uber Lilith kill guide, like a complete mechanic breakdown. I feel like at some point in time... Yo, what's up, brother? It's going pretty good. Definitely, I like Barbarian. I do like Barbarian. Feels really tanky compared to like the Druid off the top, like from the get-go. I'm gonna make an off-meta build, probably like a bleed whirlwind build of some kind. Not exactly sure where I want to go with it yet. I have to look at everything, all the different Paragon boards. And then figure out exactly what I'm going to do. I think I might have actually seen your... I think I might have seen your post. I'm not certain. I wasn't scrolling through Reddit too much today, but don't be surprised because Reddit is full of people who are just angry. I mean, it's pretty common. People just angry on Reddit.
I must wait.
I'll post out sometimes on Reddit. I'll put like a thing, some video up on Reddit. You know, sometimes you get the right people. They're all nice and everything. And other times it's just like you get a bunch of angry people. Just got to stay positive.
I'm not ready yet.
And remember, it's the internet. I'm just glad that most of the people on Reddit that were just constantly trolling people who like Diablo 4 have finally left.
I need time to do that.
Oh, I'll definitely go look at it, brother. I'll definitely go look at it. I'll give it a look over. I'll read through it. I'll give you my opinion on it. Yeah, that's my hope too, honestly. See, here's the problem. The devs came out, I think it was in one of the campfire chats for Season 2, and they said they don't plan on doing any post-season launch nerfs. And I think they're confusing the excitement for Season 2 and the enjoyment for Season 2 for what people had with the idea that long-term it's going to be okay if they just keep releasing broken builds. And for me, that is laziness. Like, you have to, and I'm not asking for perfect balance, but you have to have balance in your game. And the reason why that is not only is it obviously healthy overall for the game long term, but what's going to happen is every single season, they're going to have broken builds that one-shot everything. It's just going to be ridiculous. Like, you're going to have Hoda Barb with another class just one-shotting everything. Ball Lightning Sork on another class just one-shotting everything. And no matter how much in-game they add to the game, no matter how much they put in there, it's not going to matter because people are just going to blow through the content. And then you're going to get the same similar arguments that you have right now where most people are like, well, the in-game is bad and the boss mechanics are terrible. Now, if you go watch Wadijo, right? Yeah, exactly. Being afraid to nerf things. And that's not... See, the problem is like, they need to take control of their game. Like, it's okay to listen to the community. And the community provides a lot of good feedback. And I think they're doing a good job. But I almost think they're doing too good of a job. Because at some point, you have to pull the reins back and you have to say, okay, we do want to make a serious game. We want to make a game for the casual player, right? But we want to give them a deep interesting experience. We want to give them a really refreshing, deep, interesting experience. And the only way to do that is to balance the game. And I'm just give you an example. And it was what I was about to say is, I just recently put that video out, kind of breaking down the guy Legendary Drops video. And one of the points he made in the video is that the bosses were brain dead. Like, they were just completely no mechanically decent bosses in the game. And it just shows to me that most of these people don't even understand what they're saying. What the problem is that there are mechanics. Actually, there are a lot of mechanics. If you go watch someone like with Dijo complete like Uber Lilith with all blue items, or doing Duriel with all blue items, you'll see that every single one of these bosses has a ton of mechanics. And in fact, if you even compare the bosses mechanically to like bosses from PoE, which are really well received, you'll find that they have a lot of mechanics, even more mechanics than some of the other bosses in games like PoE. The problem lies in the fact that player balance in Season 2 is absolutely atrocious, and you one-shot everything. Like, it doesn't matter if a developer spent like hours and hours and hours making a really cool boss fight if I can bypass all the mechanics in less than a second and kill all the bosses. So it's one of the things that really will destroy the end game. It doesn't matter if you add a million things into the end game if I can trivialize every single one of them. You know, it's like playing Mario and being excited you beat Mario, but you had infinite lives and infinite star power. You know, it's like, that's not fun. Like, I mean, sure, maybe for a second it'll be fun, but once once you can't die, once you have no real risk, no real, reason to test out your skills, it's really boring. And then what they need to do right after they balance player power and they make everything appropriate, then they need to make the bosses worth farming. They need to add really awesome cosmetics you can get from the bosses. They need to add really awesome player titles, things like that. They need to make loot much more meaningful from the bosses. You know, there just needs to be more things you can get and more reasons to farm the bosses outside of just purely pumping up your power for your character, and then people will be excited to go and beat bosses. People will be excited for that in-game content. And then you do the same thing with nightmare dungeons, like tier 100 nightmare dungeons. I don't think it should be just super easy to complete a tier 100 nightmare dungeon like it is this season. I think you should have to worry about certain things. I don't think it should be impossible, but I also think the rewards for completing a tier 100 dungeon should be insanely high. Like 925 gear should be a must, and the 925 gear should be valuable. Like the affixes on the gear need to have a higher floor. There's no reason why you should be getting super low affix rolls on 925 gear. That's absolutely silly. Yeah, exactly. Just one shots just shadow everything, bro. And I know a lot of people are like, but I love it, I want it. It's like, it's just like, but you're not going to have the experience you deserve. And I'm not trying to tell people, I don't want to tell people what they can and can't like. I hate when people do that. I hate when people get like super condescending and try to tell people like, oh, you should like this more than you like that. So I respect what people want. I'm just thinking about like the long-term health of the game. I want people to have a rich experience out of it. I want casual players to have a very rich, rewarding experience out of the game, and they deserve to have that. And I think it's wonderful that Diablo is trying to set itself up to give those players that experience. I just think the developers need to have more passion and excitement to create their game. And I think they need to fall in love with their game like the developers of a game like PoE have. Now, I will say that PoE is the only game GGG makes. And that's not a bad thing. That's actually a really good thing because it means they can hyper-specialize in that action RPG. And that's not something that Blizzard has the luxury of. They're always balancing multiple things, and that can be pretty difficult. I'm sure the inner workings of a corporation like that are incredibly difficult. but they have to fall in love with their game. They have to enjoy updating their game. They have to enjoy interacting with the players. They have to, you know, really start digging deep into their creativity. Well, I think that I think that the 925 item power, for if it wasn't just for Duriel, right? If, like, say for instance, right, if I could fight Duriel and have a meaningful fight with Duriel and it dropped 925 gear at the end, that would be okay. If I could have and if that experience was comparable to doing a tier 100 nightmare dungeon, and I could get 925 gear from the enemies and from the boss at the end, or whatever the objective is, that'd be good too. But they also need to make it where all of these other bosses have a level 100 form or whatever, right? You should be able to fight level 100 Varshan, you should be able to fight level 100 Galvanic Saint, a level 100 Zir, and they all need to have, like, I don't know. They just need to be either much more tanky, and the mechanics need to matter, and they need to have more rewarding drops, 925 gear, you know, things like that. And I don't think it would be that big of it, as long as there's multiple ways. I think that's all people really want at the end of the day. Right now, people are just one-shotting Duriel over and over again. That's not fun. That's not fun for anybody at the end of the day. And it does nothing for your game. Yeah, and again, I would just always recommend, if people really want to know whether the bosses in Diablo 4 are brain dead, again, just go watch someone like Wadijo doing these bosses. Yes, really scaled down, but that's the point. It's like, if you scale the player power down, you'll find out that these bosses are exciting to fight. They have really wonderful mechanics, and you actually have to put time into learning them. The developers just need to do a much better job at balancing the game, and then obviously give the player a big reward for, you know, accomplishing, you know, that goal of overcoming that difficult content. And it needs to be more than just gear, man. It needs to be some really cool cosmetics. We need more cosmetics. Yeah, that's what I've heard. I did a lot of I played a lot of D2R. Well, I wouldn't say a lot, but I can definitely see why a lot of the players loved Diablo 2. It definitely had a lot of very interesting systems. And I wouldn't, personally, I felt like the farming aspect of it wasn't the funnest for me. Like, I didn't like too much, like, some of the things you had to do as a player who didn't really know much about the game going into D2R. It's like farming the same, you know, Endariel or whatever, or doing Mephisto runs a million times. But when you got a drop, man, it was so cool. Like, when you got something, what was one of the drops that you could get? The ring. What was from Mephisto? The what's the ring? But anyway, I know that when you got what you wanted to get, it was really exciting and really meaningful for your character. I mean, that's why PoE basically just took that system and ran with it. I mean, because it works. It definitely works. Yeah, yes, yeah, Stone of Jordan. Yep, that's what I was. SOJ, SOJ. That's why I couldn't think of it, because, you know, they abbreviate everything. Everything's abbreviated. Harlequin Crest is called Shaco. You know, Stone of Jordan's called SOJ. There's quite a few little abbreviations. Just. I also like the what's the the charm system. I like the charm system in D2R. I thought that was really, or Diablo 2. I thought that was really cool. I like the idea of give and take. Like, you have to give something to have something, and something that takes up your inventory space. It's kind of like a give and take there. I love things where you have to sacrifice something to gain something. I think that's an amazing mechanic that really helps kind of balance out the game. I wish they would add more stuff like that into Diablo 4. Yeah, I thought the charms were fun. I mean, I know they weren't overly complex, right? It's just, hey, it gives you a little attack power. This one will give you some attack. This one will give you some HP. Yeah, this one has multiple stats on it. This one might give you skill points, and those are the best ones. And I thought that was, you know, it's not super complex, easy for a player to understand, but it gives you meaningful upgrades. It gives you something to continue to look for even after your character is, you know, fully leveled up, you know, doing all the damage, but you're just trying to crank out a little bit more. I think that's what Diablo 4 needs. It doesn't need to be overly complex. It doesn't need to be like Path of Exile. You know, it just needs to have deeper, simple systems for players to enjoy. And then obviously, I do feel like the skill ceiling needs to be increased. So that I don't feel like just because something is simple by design means that it doesn't need to have some level of difficulty. I think people confuse those two things. If you look at a lot of really popular competitive games, they're incredibly simple by design, but the skill ceiling for the player base is incredibly high. And I think that should always be something that, you know, games strive for. It obviously depending on their audience, but just because a person wants to spend less time to achieve a similar goal, like for instance people who love Diablo, they don't want to spend as much time maybe leveling their character up and doing all these things to get to the point where they can fight the in-game content, but they still deserve, you know, something that's, you know, there to test their skill level. I think you can absolutely have a very skillful game that isn't necessarily overly complex. I mean, honestly, there's so many out there that are. Something I did see from PoE, and I added that into my video for things I think they should change, and I'm going to continue to say it. I wish they would add iframes to the dodge. I think that would be such a wonderful implementation of something that has been in a lot of different games, and that PoE 2 is going to be bringing to the action RPG genre. And that's mainly because I like action MMOs. Like one of my favorite MMOs when I was younger was playing Elder Scrolls Online, and they had a really cool dodge mechanic in Elder Scrolls Online.
I'm not ready yet.
Go back to the center over here. I just know that Season 2, the amount of stuff they did in Season 2 with the patch notes and everything really surprised me a lot. And I think Season 3, they've been pretty close-lipped about Season 3. And I'm hoping that means they have something really big. I'm hoping that means, I mean, obviously we know that we're getting the Gauntlet, which I'm really excited for. But I just hope that because they haven't really put a whole lot out about it, that they've been doing a lot behind the scenes. Because I honestly did not expect all the fixes and changes they made from Season 1 to Season 2. I thought we were going to get a lot less than what we did. I just wonder what they're going to do with the seasonal mechanic, bro, because I tell you what, I really like this seasonal mechanic. I like all the different vampiric powers. They really do a meaningful thing for your character whenever you switch between them, depending on whatever you have for your build. And, I don't know, man. Metamorphosis is so much fun. I think a lot of people don't... I know a lot of people like the Unstoppable, but the one thing that I love about Metamorphosis is that you can use your evade and jump over walls. So, like, when you get Waller enemies, you just jump right over the wall. It's so convenient when you're playing, like, a melee-oriented character. Especially because the Waller enemies can spawn, like, walls in a really wild way. Yeah, I like non-combat oriented competitiveness, like stuff like that. And I think it does definitely add a lot to, you know, increasing the amount of time you can spend in the end game. You know, I always have like about 3 things I think that are important for the end game, right? It's always going to be like doing dungeons, some form of PvE content, right? Doing dungeons and bossing. Then you need PvP. And then some kind of, you know, maybe time trials or something like that. Those are really fun sometimes. And if you have a good combination of those 3 things, you typically will have a decent end game. And that's why another thing I'd really love for them to implement, and this is obviously if they imperfectly balance the game, not perfectly, right? I still don't mind that there is some imbalance between the classes, and I don't mind that there's always going to be a meta. I actually like that. It offers players like me who like to make off-meta builds a little bit more excitement when I can find something that really kind of pushes the limits and is pretty close to something that is mechanically better than it, you know, what I currently have. But I would really love for them to incorporate some form of meaningful PvP. Now, not anything that you have to do, and not anything that's super serious, but like maybe some battlegrounds, maybe some kind of, you know, 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 system, where you could just have fun together with people, do some matchmaking, things like that. Because I really like PvP, and I think it can be really fun if it's done correctly and not taken too seriously. Obviously, you really can't in an action RPG. I mean, if you're trying to PvP seriously in an action RPG, I feel like you'd be wasting your time. Not that I'm against that. You know, you do what you want, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you have fun, but don't expect anything like super crazy. And see, I like stuff like this too. I like stuff where people come together, you know, even if though I'm not in a party with anybody, people come together, they have like this opportunity to play together, kill bosses. I like stuff like this. They need to have more stuff like this. More things that bring people close, into close proximity so they can work together for a common goal. Yeah, man, it doesn't have to be like I said, it don't got to be perfect. I'm not asking for like some kind of like League of Legends or like Dota 2 kind of balancing where everything has to be perfect and nothing can be overpowered. Just something that is like you're excited to do. And instead of giving like item rewards, just give like cosmetics, man. Give like a ton of really cool cosmetics. Give stuff like that. Titles, cosmetics, auras. It doesn't have to be anything that increases my overall power. And in fact, I would prefer it not to be. So that way players wouldn't feel like they're forced into PvP. But definitely cosmetics, man. Just throw cosmetic. They have such a good art department. I mean, I feel like whoever is doing their art department, and I mean, look at some of these cosmetics, man. Look at this. This thing is insanely cool looking. Like, it's such a good looking cosmetic. And it's just, man, I just wish that they would put stuff like this into the game. I wish they would put something like this into the game. I mean, some of these cosmetics are just so cool. You can't deny, you cannot deny, okay, the one thing that I will, like, you cannot deny that the art department, the art design team, they're killing it, okay? They're killing it. Yeah, titles, man. You could, some of the titles are hilarious. Like I'm my druid was like, I've made a magic monster, just silly stuff, man. I love that stuff. Doesn't have to be like combat focused, doesn't have to be stuff like that. Oh, is my camera lagging? What's going on? Is my stream lagging for you guys?
My skills matched. You'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely lagging. Let me see if I can restart. I don't know if my stream is getting jacked up or something.